Hello, how are you? Hope you're well. Um, Today I've got a video about a really simple method of calculating your calories and protein needs for fat loss. Now, I've gone with protein and calories as the two main factors because those are the ones that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to fat loss results. Calories or being in a calorie deficit is going to be what drives the weight loss that you're going to see, and protein intake helps make sure that most of what you lose comes from fat stores rather than your lean mass, which you really want to save to keep you strong and healthy. So a couple of points to kind of think about just now. First one is that these two calculations are very rough and ready, but they give you a very good starting point. And the thing with fat loss and tracking calories and things like that is that there's no definite answer. We can kind of zone in on it fairly well, but everybody's a little bit different, and you are going to have to be consistent with tracking, and you're going to have to adjust your numbers based on the results that you see. Okay, so if your weight loss or fat loss isn't progressing as fast as you'd like, you maybe have to adjust your calories down. If you are going a little bit too quickly, you feel it's unsustainable, you might have to add a few calories to kind of rein it back a little bit and make it a little bit more sustainable for your particular circumstance. Okay. The second is that we're going to be using a goal body weight as a starting point to give us our calorie totals. Now, if you've been following any of my information that I put out on either social media or through my blog, you'll know that I don't like using weight as a measure of success. Okay, there are far better ways to gauge whether you're getting the results that you want and you're seeing kind of quote unquote success. Please don't use the scale weight to define how well you're doing with this. Okay, there's, like I say, a lot of other ways we can measure progress. But we do need something to give us a starting point, and for that we're going to use a goal body weight. So let's take the example of someone who is around 80 kilos and they feel that for their height and physique goals 70 kilos is a reasonable target. We're going to take that 70 kilos and use that in our calculations as a starting point. You then forget the 70 kilos because you might hit your performance, health and body comp goals long before you ever reach that 70 kilo mark. Okay, all we're doing is setting up a calorie target to aim for. So it's a kind of set it and forget it kind of idea. Like I say, if we take that 80 kilo to 70 kilo transformation, the person involved may be new to training, you might add more muscle mass than you were expecting, and you might hit that kind of ideal shape and performance level at around 75 or 76 kilos. 70 kilos, if you're constantly focusing on that 70 kilo number, then despite having hit your targets and hit your goals, you might want to try and push on further, which is only going to be detrimental to kind of health and performance. So ignore the scale weight once you've selected your goal weight in order to do these calculations. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense and I've explained it fairly well. For your protein intake, I've got a very, very complex equation that I'm going to take you through in a second. I'm kidding, it's really, really simple. But it is, in fact, you might even look at it and think it's too simple, but it gives a very good that's a very weird way of saying it, a very good estimate of the protein needs that you're going to have to kind of aim for. But we'll go over how you kind of maybe step up from where you are now to where you want to be in terms of protein intake if you currently don't get a lot of protein into your diet. So I'm going to turn the camera around. I'll go take you through the calculations and kind of work you through all the various steps. If you have any questions, please get in touch. I'll be happy to help and clarify anything that you're not sure of. All right, thank you. So here we are with my incredibly fancy drawing board. I'm not fancy enough to have just a whiteboard, so it's a bit of brown paper, but it'll do the job. So as I was saying in the first part of the video, we're going to use two numbers to work out our calories and our protein. Okay, the first is your goal body weight. Like I say, if you're not far off of the body composition that you want, you can use your normal body weight and then adjust down if necessary. But chances are, if you're looking for fat loss, you are going to take a weight that is a little bit below where you currently sit. Okay, so that's why we're using goal body weight, and it's purely as a way to give us a starting point. Okay, we're going to ignore the number after that because we're not using weight as a measure of our success. Okay, your success doesn't rely on the number on a scale, so we're going to use that to give us our calories per day. The second number that we're going to use is our height. Okay, and we're going to use that to work out our protein intake in grams per day. Okay, as I said before, protein is important because you want most of your fat loss or your weight loss to come from fat stores, not from your lean mass, which you don't want to lose. You want to maintain as much lean mass as you can to stay strong, keep your bones and joints healthy, and to kind of give you the shape that you're kind of looking for. So let's take an example of someone who is 80 kilos and they feel that their goal body weight is around the 70 kilo mark. Okay, like I say, we're just taking this number as a target, okay, just to work out the number. I've managed to switch the oven on. Good job, Dave. So we're taking 70 kilos as our goal body weight. The first thing to do is turn that to pounds, and we do that by multiplying by 2.2, and that gives us 154 pounds. You multiply that by 12. Like I said, it's a really complex calculation, and we come out with 1540 plus 308. We'll call it 1850 calories per day. Okay, and that is, like I say, it's simply a starting point to work from. If you consistently hit that number and do nothing else, do that consistently over a couple of weeks, you're going to see some kind of result. Okay, now, like I say, if it's a little bit too quick and you feel it's unsustainable, you can add a little bit to it. You maybe round that up to 1950. If you feel that it's going too slowly, you maybe decrease it to 1750. Okay, you're giving yourself a 100 calorie window per day, but that's where your consistency and monitoring of the results comes in handy. Okay, now to work out your protein, you take your height in centimeters. So let's say that this person is 165 centimeters tall, which is what, like 5'4", 5'5", something like that. And you just turn that into grams. And that gives you your protein target. Now, there's a high likelihood that your protein intake at the moment is nowhere near that number. Okay, now if you currently are struggling to get 50 grams of protein in per day, and then I ask you to, right, I want you to triple that over the next week, you're going to probably struggle. Okay, so let's say that, you know, it's not uncommon for me to see someone with half that. So let's go with 80 grams per day. Okay, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, do you think you could take that up to 100 to 120 grams per day? Okay, if you say yes, great, we've got our target, we've got our total calories that we're going to aim for, and we're going to aim for this kind of amount of protein, somewhere in that range. Once that becomes easy, okay, and it will become easy with a bit of practice and a bit of planning, we'll take that up to 140 to 160 grams, or 165 would make more sense, wouldn't it? And then you're going to work on just increasing your protein intake until we hit this kind of target number here. So that's just two very simple calculations. One to work out your calories per day, and one to work out your protein intake per day. Okay, weight in pounds multiplied by 12 to give you your starting point, and your height in centimeters turned to grams gives you your target number for protein. Okay, now obviously your height's not going to change, so this is going to stay the same even if your calories start to reduce. Okay, so you're going to take your reductions from either carbs or fats depending on what your preference is, but you don't really need to worry about what the carb and fat ratios are. Just pick something that kind of helps you adhere to the plan and doesn't make you suffer too much in terms of performance, or makes it too restrictive for you to enjoy the types of foods that you normally enjoy, despite having to kind of maybe do it in a little bit more moderation. Okay, so hopefully that helps. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, my email is in my bio, and you can contact me with any questions you have, and I'm happy to help. Thanks.